Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Arcane Assist. This week, Evan and I are recording a pretty cool matchup, something that I've been excited about for a while. I've been exploring Circle for a little bit, and with the advice of Tomas from Poland, who Evan and I both made good friends with. Big fan of the channel, shout out to Tomas, super cool dude. Thinks that my games are good, and really, really likes Evan and everything that he brings to Arcane Assist.
Hi, Tomas.
Yeah, best guy, super great. Only interacted with him while he was drunk, and he was only great.
Yeah.
This is his list. I'm playing his Wurmwood Bones list that he recently did exceptionally well with. It's a really cool list. There's a lot of really neat tools here. It's flexing Wurmwood as a control caster to really apply damage in the right places, play very much at the sort of edge of that locking down your opponent every turn kind of old Haley 2 style of play. Really neat thing to do in Circle, something that I've been enjoying. It is the kind of thing where true mastery of it looks a lot like your opponent not having the opportunity to do very much at all, while you measure very, very precisely, play very, very carefully, and have this virtual chess match going where you're just trying to protect all of your pieces at the same time. Into that, Evan, you're for a bit of a twist, you're playing Retribution this week. Do you want to tell us about your list?
So before that, I'm going to get into a little bit of the backstory of it. So Tim was like, "Yeah, I'm going to play Wurmwood on the channel. You should make a list so that we can play a game." I was like, "All right, cool. What haven't we shown off to the channel yet?" We haven't shown off Forges of War in Ret. Okay, I'll build a cool Forges of War list. I build the list with Elara2 and all the cool stuff. I'm like, yeah, I just going to refresh myself on what Elara2 does. And I immediately look on the backside of his card and I'm like, Bird's Eye. Okay, maybe I shouldn't play this list. This will entirely destroy everything Tim loves, and the matchup will not be cool or fun. So we scrapped that, and instead I built this Elara2 Shadows of the Retribution list. So
yeah, much more interesting matchup. We did showcase a Virus 2 game. Did I record that for Not Snakes, or was that for our channel? I'm trying to remember.
It's not on our channel.
No? Okay, cool. Well, if you head over to Not Snakes Gaming, the game I played with Virus 2 is available to watch there.
All right.
Really, really good matchup. Great caster. Lots of tools. Really good into Wurmwood.
So instead of that, I built an Elara2 list. So less of a directly hard counter. I had some ideas in mind, and I figured I'd go in such a way that I could still ignore forests in some ways, but not entirely ignore the feat.
Has
everything.
tools, isn't completely teched for.
Correct.
Seems like a more interesting matchup.
Yeah. So, Elara, with her battle group of 4 Griffons and Moros. It's a really hardy battle group. Griffons are a lot harder to kill than people give them credit for, thanks to the shield as well as the shield boxes that they have. They're a lot harder to kill than they look for lights. And Moros. Moros is just a really cool piece in this list. He's got a paralyzed gun, he's got high mat, parry, stealth, pathfinder, and also fleet with speed 7, which is super cool. But also, paralysis on the swords, yeah. So really good. I also thought I was going into Tharn Wurmwood, which was wrong.
Yes. My Tharn are still on the painting table, so we're not yet showing off Tharn Wurmwood. This is Bones of Orboros Wurmwood.
Yeah.
One of the things that's cool about this list is because she's a Scything Touch caster and has like great threat extension and boundless charge, you actually you can turn all of those kind of maybe a little bit pillow-fisted lights into POW 17s on demand.
Yes, with both
Concentrated Power?
that one.
And Scything Touch.
Yeah. And I also think it's really important with Elara to have Reach 2 jacks, just because of her Field Marshal for Retaliatory Strike.
Yeah, that's a really neat one. It's caught me by surprise literally every time I played against Elara.
So, solo-wise, I've got a free Eiryss 1 and Narn, the typical ones you take in this list. I've also got 3 Arcanist Mechanics to power the fairly large battle group I have, and a Mage Hunter Assassin for, the out-of-left-field, feet turn, threats a billion inches, and decapitates you threat. We've got 2 Mage Hunter Strike Forces, one with a Soulless Escort because I had an extra point, and some Mage Hunter Infiltrators that can ambush. It's a min unit, but still pretty handy.
Yep.
And that's the gist of my list. The cool thing is that the Mage Hunter Strike Force, often people only think of their mini feat as a way to get better things with guns, but with Elara2, you give them that extra threat on their melee on the feat turn with Ghostly and Boundless Charge, so they can mini feat and charge stuff really well, especially through buildings if they need to.
Yeah, with the ghostly, that's a good. Well, they don't ignore the buildings for line of sight, so they have to have something they can
but
see.
it's more
They
like
can
going
clip the
around
building.
angles and stuff.
Can-
It makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, they can pretend to be Bane Knights for a turn. They can charge pretty deep into forests. That's appealing, especially given the Wurmwood feat, which is pretty oppressive otherwise.
So those are the tools I have in the list. So what have you brought us?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, this is Thomas's list. It's Bones of Orboros. You've got Wurmwood. His battle group is Megalith, a Wold Watcher. A Wold Warden, Wold Guardian, 3 Wold Weirds. Wold Weirds are the Purgation Shooty Gun little eyeball guys. Megalith is a character Wold Warden. The Wold Warden is the Geomancy dude. And the Wold Guardian is the
Ram hands.
Shield Guard, Knockdown Ram guy, who also has Girded. So pretty useful piece. So it's a durable battle group that has a surprising amount of damage output given the number of gunshots available to it. Bit of a gunline melee hybrid with tools to lock pieces down with multiple strangleholds in a turn.
Yeah.
The rest of the list, which I think is actually really cool, is there's 2 Gallows Groves, so that gives you anti-healing tech in a couple of different places, lets Wurmwood kind of functionally be in a few more spots. You've got 2 Stone Shapers who amplify the damage on those beasts for melee potential, and then also can serve as a bit of fury management and repair. Plus, they've got really good sprays. You've got a Black-Clad Wayfarer who can give you the critical Hunter's Mark and also some spray tools. You have 2 units of Sentry Stones for 6 more sprays. Lots of sprays in this list. It's kind of a gun line. And then 2 units of Shifting Stones, which I think are becoming, for me at least, more and more essential with Wurmwood. The more you play them, the more incredible vectors you realize there are for Hellmouths. Having 1 unit of stones teleport the leader model of the other unit of stones, then have that model shift another 8 inches forward and create a spot in the middle of the board 16 inches away from where it was, where you can now arc a Hellmouth through Cassius too and then pull Cassius back. You're like, it cost me 1 stone member to kill whatever I want in a bubble. It's really big. It's really good. I'm into it. The list is super cool. I dig it a lot. There's also a minion of Bone Grinders in the list. Sometimes they're early souls for Wurmwood. Sometimes they're craft talisman. Sometimes they help with fury management. They're a really good utility unit. Yeah. So I guess without further ado, let's jump on in. I won the die roll to go first. So I'm deploying my army at the 9-inch line because Bones of Orboros gives you a +2 inch theme benefit. The other thing it gives is the ability to, when you reeve from a Wold model, like a Construct Warbeast in your battle group, to heal them for a point, which helps manage crippled aspects because your caster can't actually heal constructs unless you're one of the balders. So it's useful. It's a cool theme benefit. Gives you a little bit more resiliency than it might look like you have.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the terrain for a second. So this is a cool encampment terrain set that Evan actually built with some of the terrain crate pieces from the Mantic set. Is that right? So these are actually a thing you can purchase. They haven't given us any free stuff or anything. We're not endorsing them, but they happen to be pretty nice.
I mean, glowing endorsement of Mantic. They didn't fuck something up for once.
Whoa, harsh but fair, I guess. I don't know. They're good products. They're nice. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Mantic, if you want to sponsor us, we could say that, apparently.
Yeah.
You
did good, boys.
The terrain stuff is really nice. And we're going to talk topmost 2 kind of buildings that have the sort of slightly larger huts on them with the sort of scatter terrain pieces around them. We're playing both of those as obstructions that block line of sight to large bases, but not huge. On the bottom side here, we've got 2 little kind of tent areas with some smaller height obstructions. We're playing both of those as obstructions that block line of sight to medium bases, but not to large bases. So there's a couple of tools there if Evan wants to kind of come around with mini-feated Strike Force members. He can shoot things like the Wolves or Megalith or that kind of thing. There are 2 forests on this board, and there's a patch fairly centrally located that I've deployed Wurmwood into that is, in fact, rubble. And Evan has a wall on his side, which I think we were playing as a regular type wall.
Mm-hmm. So I start my AD, and I'm like, all right, so we both have a lot of AD, so I can threaten you pretty early in the game. And then I start deploying, and I'm like, Cassius is really far up. You can run, and then you can arc through him. So I got to pay attention to Hellmouths. So I start deploying, and I'm like, wait a second. Strike Force have stealth. Do you have any way to ignore stealth? And then I look at Wurmwood, and I'm like, Wurmwood's a tree. Trees don't have eyes.
I mean,
he has eyeless sight. Crap!
Hills have eyes, but trees don't.
Terrible. So I decide, well, I guess I can't really project my threat all that well early in the game. I'll just deploy so that you can't kill my entire unit with a single Hellmouth all the way back on the regular AD line, basically.
I think at some point I pull out a tape measure and show you like where I can actually get to with a Hellmouth, and you're like, oh, fuck, well, then it doesn't matter. I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're like, what
just...
if Cassius runs to here? Oh, I've got a Soulless. That'll help. And I'm like, no, it won't.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
Yeah. No. So we put our models very far back, and then we decide, well, Hellmouth's is a dumb spell, and I hate it. And Wurmwood's a dumb caster, and I hate him. And
so here's me explaining how the double teleport works. That's a great hand gesture for that. Like, the first stone teleports the leader model of the second stone unit. Then the second stone unit leader model, because it's in formation, shifts itself 8 inches forward. Can't be teleported, but still can shift because that's a different unit ability. And Evan's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then I'm like, then Cassius moves up, and then we arc Hellmouth through Cassius onto the stone, so I don't have to worry about your mage stat. I can pull all of the mage hunters in, and they all die. And I'm making the, like, crunching hand gesture, basically Evan's soul and all his motivation to play the game inside that hand gesture. And then I spend 2 to pull Cassius back.
And then Evan quits War Machine forever.
Sometimes the gotcha moments, like the experience where you're like, I never saw that coming, it really can be a bit of a challenging disservice.
So here's the thing, though. It wasn't a gotcha moment. It was me realizing how this game's going to go and just dread building up inside of me as I'm putting my models on the table.
I guess the point I'm making is I'm trying to create for Evan a more positive experience by being a bit transparent with my abilities in a game we're playing as friends. And I think that's valuable and it's good to do.
It is, but also, this is degenerate.
I mean, it's certainly cool that you can extend threat really far. I'm excited about it. I don't know why you're upset.
Because just the word Hellmouth is going to be burnt into the back of my eyes for the rest of this game so that I don't forget.
That's fair. So now that Hellmouth has had a huge impact on the game, even without being cast, I'm not going to cast it.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, it RFPs the model, so I wouldn't get their souls.
So, I mean, you can see how I've had to deploy, and basically just a giant spaced out line. I put Eiryss just dead in the middle because I was like, if you want to give me a model and waste some resources on killing Eiryss, I am fine with that. Thankfully, the top side of the table could be a little bit more bunched up because there's no Cassius on that side.
I mean, Cassius is everywhere.
I'm not so sure. So what are you planning on doing this turn, Tim?
Killing everything I can, as long as it doesn't cost me anything.
Sounds a lot like something Circle would try to do.
So basically, I'm just making a positioning play here. I'm putting models in a position. I'm making sure that I've got stealth in the right spots. I'm sort of trying to keep my pieces as conservative as possible. What you've got over there is you've got a Wold who ran forward, and then a Gallows Grove that ported forward. The Gallows Grove has Prowl, so it's safe from the Strike Force and it's out of their melee charge range. The Wold is in concealment, so it ends up being defense 12, and he's in range of a shield guard. So I'm expecting to not do very much damage to my heavies this turn. The Bone Grinders are running up. I put a proxy base forward. Oh, sorry. At this point, we note that there are objectives in this scenario. The Bone Grinders adjust their run ever so slightly. I put a proxy base where Wurmwood's going to end up this turn. That's often what the start of a turn for Wurmwood looks like, is just kind of figuring out, like, what's Wurmwood doing this turn. And my plan is to kill Eiryss, because she's a bit of a pest, collect her soul, and build Fort Wurmwood behind this building. that's the working plan so far.
Fair enough.
So boost to hit Eiryss, boost damage because dice off 1. I just really want that 6. Kills her. Collects a soul for Wurmwood. I'm on a soul. 3 fury and a soul. He casts Rapid Growth, and I fiddle around with the placement of Rapid Growth a couple of times. Basically what I do here is the tree is functionally decorative, but I really like the tree because it's cool, and I've got the 3 birds on it in the style of the beetles from the Jungle Book, if anyone gets that particular reference. They're carrion thralls. I just think, dark circle is cool circle. And Cassius runs up and gets into the forest as well. My Cassius model is actually converted with half of a Morvana 1 because I wanted the gender swapped Cassius, and that seemed cool to me. So that's also a thing. The red unit of stones that did not port Wurmwood, they port up and just create a new triangle that Wurmwood can be in. Tucked a little bit behind the forest that's here. And then I phase jump the Blackclad, place him completely within 2 inches of one of those shifting stones, and also in the forest, so the Blackclad also has prowl. And now we're activating some Woldy models. Woldweird runs up. Megalith tramples up, buys an attack, punches Bone Grinder in the back. He fails his tough check, buys another attack, kills another Bone Grinder, and puts Wurmwood on all 3 souls. So Wurmwood is ready for 10 Fury next turn. Are you ready for 10 Fury next turn, Evan?
No.
Are you excited? I'm excited.
I am whatever the opposite of excited is.
Enthusiastic?
I don't know what you think the meaning of opposite is, but that's not what the opposite of that is.
Oh, Wurmwood's so much fun to play. Just deep and technical and full of really cool things you can do every turn.
I was more happy when he got nerfed and stopped being played.
Yeah, it's really cool to see him back. I mean, one of the things that Wurmwood, got adjusted and certainly isn't bad now. Yeah. But for a period of time, way too good, way too strong. The feat is now command range instead of control area, and that's really the big change that he experienced. And that's big, but 10-inch forest in a giant radius is still really big.
Yeah. I mean, so despite all my whining, I am actually quite happy to see him back on the table. He is a very cool caster that deserves to be played. Sometimes you just don't want to be on the receiving end.
Well, and playing against a really good control caster with a player who even has any notion of how to unpack their kit is it's challenging, right?
Mm-hmm.
It forces you to engage in the game at a deeper level than you might otherwise.
Yeah.
And that's tricky.
You are about an inch and a bit outside of the threat range of my Griffons, because with the combination of Fleet and the feat for Boundless Charge, they threat 15.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a teensy-weensy bit out of that.
6, 9, 11, 13, 15. Yeah, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very far. Good thing I'm out of that.
But I do think I can force you to have some awkward positioning errors next turn. With the way you're positioned, you're very far ahead of all of your war beasts, so I don't really think I have a lot to worry about in terms of losing pieces. But I do think that if I break the stone triangle that Wurmwood is in, and then engage them by running that Griffon that would have been able to charge if you were a little teensy-weensy bit more forward, and engaging more Wurmwood, but more importantly Cassius, then you'll have troubles removing that Griffon because it's engaged with your caster, and the thing you need to use to move your caster, other than obviously shifting stones, which they would no longer be in. And then you have to kill a Griffon before activating Wurmwood, or Cassius, for that matter. And then if Cassius wants to run back so that Wurmwood can teleport backwards to be safer next turn, you're going to have some issues with that. So that's the plan we're going to go with. So I have the plan to use these Strike Force members right here. And then if they're I'm hoping I get a little bit lucky, but if not, the backup plan is to do a CRA from a couple of the bottom unit members. But a 4-man CRA needs a 8 to kill.
9.
9 to kill. Math is hard. I just get it. I'm like, oh, sweet. That really helps with some positioning in the bottom unit. Cool. So the issue with the whole run and engage stuff plan, there's a black cloud there right now. So I have to kill that.
Yep.
Or at the very least, like, him being there makes the whole engage with a Griffon plan a little bit riskier because the stone spray has knockdown. We do a little bit of proxying here. I want to charge with a Mage Hunter Assassin. I just want to make sure I have a line past one of my own models. So I'll put down the proxy. The base size here is not all that big a deal for me because I'm just making sure that I can get past and be within 4 inches of the one model. But we do throw down a small base afterwards. We decide that the Mage Hunter Assassin is in, so I can get all 3 members of the Sentry Stone unit as well. Just can't get the Sentry Stone itself. Completely murder the Sentry Stone model. Mannequin, that's what it's called. And I realize I've given a lot of Mage Hunters in for a big ol' Hellmouth next turn, but taking out one of those stone units is huge. So, sacrifice that had to be made. And I didn't have to pop the mini feat for it because of the weird formation I had to make in order to do it. It was like a little semicircle that all barely got vision to the stone that would have been behind Wurmwood.
A little semicircle looks like an ideal Hellmouth target.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, while you were deploying that, just moving them up in that little circle there, I sort of salivated a little.
Gross.
Yeah, just like looked at that and I was like, delicious.
So do some Mage Hunter charges here. Charge that Black Cloud, as we talked about earlier. Charge in on a Mannequin. And then we do some runs with the rest of the unit. Make sure everyone's in command, you know.
Yeah, you're playing this unit pretty conservatively. I think that makes sense. This is like a 3-turn plan. Like their hope is to capture this zone kind of after the Wurmwood feat.
Mm-hmm.
You still have ambushing infiltrators coming in, right?
I do have those still in my back pocket. Luckily, the one Mage Hunter I charged happened to just smoke that Black Cloud right out of there.
Yeah, I was like 8s then 9s, and you're like, yeah, sure, 8s then 9s.
Boom.
All right, fine.
Problem solved. Then Griffon runs, and gets into tucks behind the building and engages.
Yeah, so this is the moment where I'm like, oh shit, is Evan's plan just to like saturate me with a bunch of targets that I can't kill all of? Because that actually seems like a problem. Like I actually am not sure that's okay.
That is the plan.
Yeah, so it's a good plan. I like it.
And this
building
building isn't actually a huge issue for me because even with my Griffons, if you feat, I can counter feat, get that ghostly. Use fleet as well. Whew, that's going to be a mouthful. Feat, fleet, and then walk through the building into melee with your caster if you can't escape next turn.
Yeah, it's a problem. So I guess I'm going to have to build an escape plan.
Mm-hmm. And again, your entire battle group is still more than a turn away. I mean, you could do some tricks with Hellmouths in order to pull your guys closer to me or pull my guys closer to you.
Sure.
But that's using resources from Wurmwood that aren't used to kill entire units of Mage Hunters.
Yep. No, that's relevant. And, you know...
So here I debate putting Scything Touch on anything. And immediately decide that's a terrible idea because I'm just giving Woldweird's free boosts. I will camp 7.
It's worse than boosts. It's additional dice.
Correct. They
still
can boost on top.
Yeah, Woldweirds
Even
are
better.
great.
Woldweirds are
I
terrifying.
was like, signing at your caster. And you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, okay.
I also run Narn in the bottom zone. Forgot that for a moment. But he's there now.
And here's a mannequin right behind him.
Whoop.
Friendikin. Like a friend that's a mannequin. Friendikin? No? Not into it? I thought it was good.
You think a lot of bad things are good.
Huh. Like you at this game.
Hey.
Nah. I don't think that.
You're just in a mood today.
Apparently.
Jeez.
Nah,
Start off with all the swearing, and now we're just like
swearing. I don't even remember that. Man, that's saying something. Yeah. This is like a little Arcanist After Dark moment here. We're definitely late in the evening with our recording process here.
It's 1:30.
Yeah. Some of our best games are played late at night. Certainly, you're getting a certain swagger, a certain style of recording that doesn't always receive its pronouncement.
So here's the sweet proxy for the upcoming Hellmouth.
Yeah, if you were wondering what would happen with this Mage Hunter Assassin and all of these Strike Force members, they're all gonna get sucked into a hole in the ground that's opened up by angry roots to hell. Yeah, I'm just placing the mannequin. Eventually that mannequin's gonna have to move to where that proxy base is, but I'm setting up for where that's gonna happen. There's a conveniently placed Gallows Grove that's gonna enable me to place that Hellmouth. Wurmwood was on full souls, so he's gonna go up to 10 Fury this turn after Reaving and the model gets Serenity'd off. So we're at the top of the turn, ready to roll. Obviously I have a Griffon problem. And I'm thinking I probably want to feat this turn, which means I have to move into Operation Lockdown. Now, in the Bones of Orboros theme force, there's a lot of tools to really kind of punish things. I'm hoping that I can use a couple of Wold Weirds, boosting damage to strategically take out that Griffon's shields, maybe get some spikes on some gunfighter shots, and blow up the Griffon, and with a back arc shot on the Mage Hunter Strike Force member, kill it, put Wurmwood on a soul, and be in a really strong commanding position to feat. So that is the working plan right now. We're going to do the simple things first, which include activating this Mannequin Sentry Stone combination. The Mannequin had to move to get into the ideal Hellmouth position. We want to enable Prowl on that Sentry Stone just so Evan doesn't get free shots at it. And we're going to take a spray that clips 2 of the people who are not going to get hit by the Hellmouth. So clips 2 Mage Hunter Strike Force members and clips a Griffon.
Yeah.
Without
sense.
the aiming bonus, I need 10s hit these guys, so I'm just kind of like hoping. I boost on both of them, and I miss both Mage Hunter Strike Force members, but roll a 10 to hit the Griffon, and I do a point of damage to the Griffon.
Boom.
Yeah, just not much.
Triggers. I don't know. Pick a rule that triggers on damage.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, Griffin's on a
pain response. Done.
Ugh.
Give Griffin's pain response.
I'm having a pain response just thinking about that. So Woldbeard moves up. I debated like moving into the back arc of the Griffon and taking a free strike here, but I decided it probably wasn't worth it for the damage potential. The chances that I just lose a key aspect are pretty relevant. So, boost my first damage roll. Second shot misses, third shot hits, and I boost that damage roll. Just trying to, as I said, get punch damage in past the shield, and I do a bunch of damage. A little bit incorrectly located for my tastes, but...
What? You took out the shield?
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, for some reason I thought... Oh, no, they're right-handed. Never mind. Yes, I did take out the shield in the first attack. So now I'm down to dice minus 4. And I proceed to roll kind of like garbage. So I had a great spike at the beginning of this, and then my dice sort of quit on me a little bit. I'm still doing good chip damage in on this guy, and I feel like a couple more good shots and I do it. I ask Evan to take out the movement. Nope, movement's still good. So now I'm in a position where this wold up here, both of the wolds who attacked it missed one of their 6s. Like if I aim over here, I can shoot into melee. You're a 16, I go to an 8, I need 8s. Well, that feels like boosting hit territory. That's not ideal. Let's have Megalith come up, apply his Undergrowth Animus, do the strangle holding he was planning to do anyway, maybe a little deeper in Evan's lines. And I'm looking to see if he can apply Undergrowth with a walk or if he needs to trample. I bump Evan's model a little bit and immediately determine that means I probably need to trample. So I'm going to trample up, apply Undergrowth, make that aiming wold only needs 6s to hit, even shooting into combat. Probably should have done that before I missed the 2 attacks of the wolds, but beggars and choosers and whatnot. So Megalith, Undergrowth for 2, Trample for 1, moves right up to here, and I'm now in a position where I probably can't Geomancy into melee without a boost there, so I'm just Geomancying at the target back here. Happens to roll the hit with a 5, and does enough damage to hit him with Stranglehold. So that's lucky, because I didn't have a boost there, and I probably should have needed it to get an 8. And then an aiming Woldweird misses the first shot, We determine where the randomization goes. It goes to Cassius, who line of sight is blocked to, so I missed Cassius. Second shot hits. I boost damage here. Again, Wildbeard's getting about 2 out of 3 shots, which is probably about right. Dice down 4 damage, does a fair bit. And I boost my last shot and takes him out. Overkills by, I think, about 4 or 5 boxes.
Yeah. So
the hope here was that the combination of Wildbeards could kill the Strike Force member and the Griffon. They didn't, and that's probably because I activated Megalith like kind of late in the plan. Like, it didn't take enough time to really form it properly. Having said that, I'm hoping that maybe I get a couple of Strike Force member kills over here with mannequins. One of them boosts to hit Narn and boost damage in the back. Just worth it to make sure I finish Narn there. I have a spray. This guy's just outside of melee. He misses the guy directly in front of him, boosts at the Strike Force commander, and kills the commander. And we check to see if he's in soul collection range of Wurmwood. He's just a sliver out. So no soul for Wurmwood there. We move the Wurmwood model to acknowledge the proxy base that is actually where Wurmwood is. So it's pretty unambiguous that he's out. And I shift the stone in a little bit. I double-check the ambush range, and the Infiltrators are in, but they're going to have like kind of some awkward charges and stuff, so I'm feeling pretty good about that, but just in case I need it as a contesting piece later, I shift the Gallows Grove back outside of that threat. Okay, well, I don't really want this Strike Force member to be here, so Cassius will boost to hit and fertilize it. Little bit awkward. That was kind of a soul I was thinking about having.
yeah, and since you fertilize it, you RFP the model.
Yeah, so no soul there. Not ideal. Also, we sort of backtracked a little bit. When Megalith did his trample up, I deliberately clipped one of my bone grinders, and I missed it.
Yep. So no souls there either.
Yeah, did not collect a soul there. So Wurmwood's light on souls this turn, but obviously I had a big turn last round, so let's find out what happens here. The Shifting Stones port. I port one into Evan's zone to contest, and I put another one just right up here next to Megalith. In position to Serenity, in position to contest again, very, very far forward, so it's a good potential port and then be targeted with Hellmouth piece. I'm expecting Evan will probably kill the one in his zone to clear it and score a point, but I'm not going to give that to him. The Wold who walked up, Geomancy's a stranglehold onto the Griffon behind cover. Because it's in undergrowth range, I hit with a boosted 8. Or a boosted... Anyway, I hit with my boosted attack roll. And then I boost damage, and I do a couple of points of damage, enough to apply Stranglehold. So I've now Stranglehold 2 of Evan's Griffons. Stranglehold 2 Griffons and killed 1. I have locked down 3 pieces. The control game is working.
It really is. I mean, the whole plan of, okay, even if I can't see you on your feet turn, I can walk through buildings and your forest with Pathfinder and hit stuff is just gone. No, your feat works as per usual. I can't, like, walk and melee. I mean, you might not even... I mean, obviously you're going to feat just for the strike force, but especially now that you've killed the commander on one unit. But...
That's a big deal.
But, I mean, now I can't do the things that I would normally need to do, and the pieces that would normally do work on your feat turn just can't anymore. And now the terrifying Hellmouth happens.
Now, because of the order that these get pulled in, one of the Strike Force members is actually going to be kind of bump into its own friend and be outside the bubble. That's okay. I'm going to get the Mage Hunter Assassin, and I'm going to get 3 Strike Force models. As we mentioned before, Hellmouth does remove from play, so souls won't be collected off these models. Can't get too greedy. Also gives Wurmwood a source of RFP, which helps answer recursion.
So
I think I decided to just hard roll it on the Strike Force, or the Assassin.
And I mean, speaking of RFP, all of these models are RFP'd, no souls.
Mm-hmm. So, look for Undergrowth in all the right places. Wurmwood casts a Stranglehold at the Griffon in Evan's zone. Hits with a 5 and 7 is a 12. And debate my options here.
We're just talking about the line of sight there, because I thought the ring you had was the inside of the ring was the 3-inch. So, but you can still cast it through Cassius, hitting the Griffon, and you do so.
Yeah.
And at this point, I believe you have 2 focus left, and you debate whether or not to stranglehold Moros?
So I've got a couple of weird options. I don't feel like Moros is something that I can hit very accurately. He's in concealment right now, so I debate strangleholding the back arc strike force member who's not engaged in melee, killing it, and then collecting its soul. I would need a 5 to hit, and then auto kill it with damage and collect a soul, but I decided the 2 transfers are better. I think you might be able to get in on me with Elara, and if you can, I think you probably don't kill me, but you, I need to transfer a couple spikes potentially. So that's a feat token. Man, does that glare with the light.
Yeah, it sure does.
It's like a small sun. To our viewers, I apologize for that. If you are watching this on Patreon, you pay good money for this stuff, and that's nonsense. If you're watching this on YouTube, well, that's what you get. YouTube, man. You can only expect so much quality. They're the same videos, people. But that's my Iron Gauntlet feat token, so I'll keep that in mind for next time. It's certainly the light angle we've got going on.
Oh, your shiny I win toy.
It's, everyone who made the top 3 of IG got one.
Uh-huh. Anyways, so Elara does the thing that I didn't do on turn 1, which is apparate 2 inches forward.
Mm-hmm. You
And
don't really need it on turn 1.
I sure don't. And this is the turn that I look at the table and I think 3 of my things are stranglehold. Now Tim's heavies can get into melee the next turn. I need to win the game now, or else I will lose on attrition because my strike force can't kill anything by the end of this game. So, what have I got? I need to kill the Shifting Stone between Elara and Wurmwood. My feat lets me ignore free strikes, so I don't have to worry about any of that nonsense. I can cast Scything Touch on myself more than 3 inches away from the Wold Weirds, so I don't have to worry about Witch Hunter thanks to Wurmwood's feat.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I might be able to get Moros in. So I look at the table. Moros can walk 8 inches, 9 actually because of fleet, and get into 1 inch of Wurmwood.
So, what that's looking like is you have to spend 1 to fleet. Elara's going to have to spend 2 on her own Scything Touch. She'll spend 3. You have to feat to give her Ghostly because she doesn't have base Pathfinder and you don't have a line of sight to charge. She'll have to walk in, and then she'll have her initial plus a handful of bot attacks.
Yes, so sorry. So in that math, did you say Moros got allocated 1 there?
I think you have to allocate him
so
1.
2, 3, yeah, so she has 5 attacks herself at off 3, and then Moros gets 4 attacks at off 1.
Okay.
So the math is, if Elara's just going in there with her own 6 attacks, not good. But since Moros can get in there, it swings the math a lot. And because I can use the Arcanist to power up the rest of the focus and use Empower, we're getting some good stuff in there. So thankfully, got to save the mini feat on this unit last turn. So they're going to be able to clear out this stone for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's some dice involved, but they're mini-feeding right now to ignore the forest the Wurmwood's put into play. Imagine that, right on top of Wurmwood is a giant pie plate of forest. It's 10 inches in all directions.
It's ridiculous.
Can't see the forest for the trees. It's a common expression.
I'm aware.
Okay.
Doesn't make it not a bad pun in this moment.
You're all kinds of saucy tonight.
Okay.
The Strike Force members do a big CRA, and after 2 attacks, we kill the stone.
Mm-hmm.
The Griffon over here
uses fleet and walks into your zone. Just in case I mess this up, this is the point in time where I'm remembering that I need to contest your zone at all, so I do it.
Yep.
Because in this scenario, that is a thing that is easily forgotten.
It's Elara time. So she feats.
She walks.
She advances. She knocks over the tree because reasons. So I'm auto-hit melee. But I'm armor 18. Your dice down 3. And each of these attacks matters. Like, this is getting to the point where the incremental numbers matter. And with 20 boxes, Wurmwood's pretty hardy. Your first attack just 3 points. Your second one is 5. I debate transferring that for a second, but opt not to. 2 more points.
3 more points. 3
more points.
2 more points. So,
all of your attacks I'm alive on 4 boxes. part of me wishes I'd transferred that 5. You're about to come in with POW 17s, though, so this is probably the point I want to transfer.
Yeah, I have to move some Strike Force out of the way, so I activate them first, so I just do some poor attacks into a couple of mannequins and stuff. Again, there's a forest surrounding some of them, so meh, and I can't mini feat because you killed that one.
Yeah, clever, right?
They get some attacks in. I don't kill the things.
You kill one mannequin.
I kill one of the things.
That's exciting. All right, so pre-measured, Moros gets that advance, rounds the Shifting Stone between the Woldweird, and with a little bit tighter placement, I might have been able to lock him out, but Evan gets in with Moros. Dice down 1, he does 4 points. I transfer it because I have to.
You have exactly 4 boxes.
Goes to the 1 on the Guardian.
Dice
down 1, I do 2 damage. Manage to live.
Then I do 2 more damage.
And unfortunately, I have to transfer that 2 damage. So I
The
wish I'd
ones you
transferred the
wouldn't have
Elara
to.
attack. Last attack.
If I roll double ones, you live. I do not.
Oh, that's the...
So I get the desperate assassination on Wurmwood.
Indeed.
We cut the tree down.
And paralyzed it.
And
too.
paralyzed
So that's
it.
exciting.
Moros paralyzed the tree.
Yes, that makes it
Trees
much
are
easier
alive.
to hit the auto-hitting attack rolls.
I made it so that the tree couldn't move.
Couldn't charge.
Yep, that one. Whatever. Look, man. We got it.
See, it's funny because the tree doesn't have a movement value.
Yeah. So, we're actually looking at the table now. As you can see, if Tim puts that Sentry Stone there, then this is much harder.
Yeah, we actually have a kind of a neat conversation. I'm like, what? So if I put the Shifting Stone here, am I okay? And you're like, well, I can't put Moros there, but maybe I can, put Elara in a little wider and make room for Moros over here. All I have to do is walk up and kill Cassius. And I was like, well, Cassius is a little tricky to kill. And then Evan does I roll, what do I need? 7 to hit, 7 hits. And what's your armor? I'm like, well, 16. It's like 10 boxes, dice down 1. So I'm like, there you go. Just kill him. One attack. Yeah.
Validation.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so you kill Cassius, and you're just like, there, and now I can just move Moros in, and we're good to go. So that basically costs you 1 extra attack. That actually would have had me live if you made 1 less attack.
Right.
Also,
if I hadn't rolled 3 for damage
sure,
twice.
for sure.
But
Right, your rolls were below average. I was not expecting to get Moros in, and that was something I just didn't see. Right, that's good lessons, and that's a really as thrilling as it can be to play those control casters who just lock down everything on the board, and your opponent can sit there being miserable, being like, oh my god, I can't do anything. If you make a mistake, it's over that. You can't afford to play that razor edge and fall on the wrong side of it in terms of the vulnerability you expose.
Especially when your caster is a tree that is automatically hitting melee.
Correct, yes.
I mean, that said, had you gotten the 1 soul from the Bone Grinder,
I'm alive there.
you're alive.
Yep, that's Megalith rolling a 3 to hit the Bone Grinder.
And, yeah, had you had any other way to kill the 1 Mage Hunter Assassin, if you killed with the Griffon with that Woldweird attack,
yeah, or
again,
if
you get that soul and you're alive.
Trampled Megalith first. That means I hit with 2 more Wold attacks. Maybe I kill the pardon me. Maybe I kill the Griffon an attack earlier.
Yep.
And I've got an extra attack available for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you play that a little bit differently, and then Wurmwood's sitting happy with 2 souls, and then I just straight up don't kill you there.
Mm-hmm.
By a lot, actually.
Yeah. So, it was a very interesting game, very educational in terms of the positioning elements. My apologies to Tomas for losing with Wurmwood, but I'm learning. Feel free to tell me what I did wrong. Maybe in the comments below. Actually, that's open to everyone. If you've got feedback or suggestions on the matchup or the list, we're interested in the feedback. And it's been really cool because, as I said before a little while ago, I've been kind of on a bit of a journey as to what I'm going to play next year. And I may swap between a couple of different things, but right now it's looking like Circle. Maybe still Retribution. I mean, I just literally lost a game to Retribution, so that does tell you a little bit of something. But there's a lot there, and I'm really jazzed about it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe one day we'll get that Virus 2 list on the channel, but also maybe not against Wurmwood.
Maybe it's nice to show some favorable matchups too, and we do that from time to time.
Fair enough.
So that's us for the week. As we usually try to say, if you like us on Facebook, we appreciate that. If you subscribe to our channel here, that's spectacular. If you are a Patreon subscriber and you're watching this on Patreon or YouTube or wherever you choose to do so, thank you very much. Your support literally means we get to produce these videos. It takes a lot of our time to do so, and the money that you give us justifies us taking time off work, helping with equipment expenses, even attending conventions that we love to go and meet our fans. If you're watching this on YouTube and you just haven't thought about being a Patreon supporter and are just like, man, $1 a week, that's nothing, I'm happy to do that, we would love that. And if you can't afford that, that's okay. We still appreciate that you like our channel and that you enjoy what we do, and we thank you a ton. And if you get that sweet promotion, think of little Arcane Assist in your new budgeting.
Thank you very much for watching, guys, and we will see you next Monday.